Oh, for fuck's sake, it's raining.
You know what we should make? Let's start with toppings. First topping is beef. For the beef topping, you'll need an onion. We're gonna cut off the root ends and cut the onion in half. Then peel the skin away and you can start slicing. We only need half an onion here, and you don't have to cut into very small pieces. As you can see, there's some black stuff on the onion. We can just trim that part away and peel off that dirty layer. You can cut the onion in any size you want. For now, I'm just slicing it like this. If you don't like to bite in too much onion, then just cut it to very small bits. We also need some garlic. Again, cut off the root end and peel the skin away. The garlic, you're gonna cut to very small bits. I don't really want to bite into the garlic. Oh, and some people put ginger in the beef. I don't really like the flavor of ginger inside beef, but if you like it, then go ahead. For the beef, we need thin slices. Here I have 250 grams or half a pound of short plate. Find any beef which has a lot of fat in it. Cut the beef into small pieces. You don't want to bite into long pieces of beef. It gets hard to swallow. Anyways, I'm gonna divide it by 4, but you can divide it as much as you want. If the beef doesn't have a lot of fat in it, it will be tough. Now, let's prepare the sauce mix. First, we need 4 tablespoons of Japanese soy sauce, 4 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of mirin, a tablespoon of sugar, then mix it up. Oh, and as you can see, I'm measuring with a normal spoon. And if you're using measuring spoons, that'll be twice the volume of normal spoons. Measurements in the US are really quite inconsistent. You could also just eyeball the ingredients. Now we can start cooking the beef. In a medium frying pan, put some oil in. Once the pan is hot, you can put your onions in. Let the onions cook until it's translucent and almost caramelized. Then you can put the beef in, stirring immediately. Separate the beef slices. You can use chopsticks to break them apart. You gotta be separated so that the sauce can evenly coat the beef. You can now put your garlic in, stir it around for a bit, and now you can put your sauce mix in. Honestly though, it's easier to just marinate the sauce mix with the beef. All we gotta do now is let the sauce reduce and keep mixing. I may have made a mistake with the focus on the camera here. As you can see, it looks so fucked up. Anyways, here's some better footage. The sauce is all reduced like this. You can take it off the heat and set it aside. Next toppings are spring onions. Cut off the root ends and cut the green part. Save the white part for later. We're using the green parts for the topping. Try slicing the spring onions diagonally. This will make them a little more visually pleasing. Oh, and make sure you use a sharp knife for this. Otherwise, they just won't cut through, like this. As you can see here, there's some slimy snot, mucusy cum, which is why we're gonna wash it after we're done slicing. Put the scallions inside a container and pour some water in and start rinsing like this. It don't have to be for too long though. Drain the scallions once you're done. Toppings are done, now let's make the soup. I'm making enough portions for like 2 people, but you can double the recipe if you're serving 4 people. Couple of key ingredients for the soup are Japanese soy sauce, mirin, and most importantly, dashi powder, or bonito powder, whatever you call it. Typically, Japanese people use smoked fish flakes, known as katsuobushi, whatever you call it again. I'm using dashi powder because it's more convenient. I don't feel like boiling something and then straining it to another pot. It's way too fussy. Anyways, for 2 portions, it'll be 2 small teaspoons of dashi powder. If you think it's too fishy, just add less. When the water is boiling, you can add the dashi powder. If you put the dashi powder in boiling water, it mixes easily. Then I'm gonna add like a teaspoon of ginger and the white part of the scallion I left earlier. I don't think it's gonna impart a lot of flavor, but it's better than wasting. 4 tablespoons of soy sauce goes in, and 2 tablespoons of mirin goes in. You can definitely just eyeball the ingredients here. Like if it's not sweet enough, add more mirin. Not savory enough, add more dashi. If it's not full enough, add more soy sauce. Oh, and soy sauce is not enough to season the whole soup, so add more salt if you need. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, udon soups usually call for kombu. I usually substitute it with dried seaweed or seaweed snacks. Now let's move on to boiling the udon. Big pot, we're gonna boil some water. While we wait for the water to boil, let's talk about udon. They could either be sold frozen or fresh, or even dried, but I don't really like the dried ones. Anyways, I'm trying to take out the noodles like this. What I'm trying to do is separate the noodles from each other. Just start slowly and you'll get there eventually. I think most recipe videos don't do this. I tried just boiling the whole thing in, but it broke apart as soon as I tried to separate the noodles. Maybe I was doing it wrong, who knows, but this is safer. If you're using frozen noodles, just boil the whole thing in, and you're ready to boil it. So let's go. Make sure the water is boiling like this. Then you can insert the noodles into the water. You could put a couple of noodles in if the water is very hot. Once the noodles are all floating like this, you can take it off the heat. I'm draining most of the water into the sink. Drain the excess on a colander, or you can just use a strainer if you're not boiling too much. When it comes to serving, Japanese restaurants usually have some special techniques, more like methods. To make the noodles taste cleaner and chewier, restaurants usually wash and rinse the noodles after cooking. To make sure it all stays hot, they usually splash some hot water into the bowl. Am I gonna do all that? Well, no. But I am gonna do a couple of things to retain its quality. So, first, reheat the soup if it's gone cold, then put your noodles in. One soup portion is around 250 until 300 mils. Stir it around for a bit, then you can add your toppings. Here I have the beef from before. If I had Naruto fish cakes, I would put it now, but I don't. You can add some extra toppings like tempura flakes, an egg, seaweed, or whatever. I usually make udon noodles because the broth is quick to make, unlike ramen soups which usually takes hours. Anyways, this is perfect for a rainy day. The fat from the beef would make the slippery velvety texture on the noodles, as you can see right here. This is definitely not accidental. Anyways, that's it from me. Stick around for more recipes soon.